Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. One podcast to rule them all. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Rings of Power, the new Amazon original TV show based on the Lord of the Rings today. So we're going to give our initial impressions, talk about some theories we have going forward, and all that good jazz after our little break and after the nerdy confessions. Thank you guys for stopping by. Leaving a like, a subscribe, a follow, a positive review on the old Apple iTunes. We haven't had one of those in a while, so you could do one of those. It would really help us out. All that good stuff is free for you, helps us out a ton, gets us in front of more eyeballs, into more ear holes, and that's where we want to be, all up in your ear holes.
All in the holes.
If you want to take it one step further and not involve your holes, check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. You become a patron today. Help support the show monetarily. All righty then, Christian. Let's start the show, as we always do, with some nerdy confessions, where we confess the things that make us nerds. Give me one.
So my nerdy confession, I think it's not a secret that I'm not big into sports. Sorry, I'm just taking stuff off here. I'm not big into sports, but I think I finally found something that might suit me. I started watching some highlight videos of esports, specifically fighter games.
Oh, yeah. Dude, those guys are so good.
They are really good. But my favorite is I saw a couple reels where it's like the comebacks where my favorite is when someone is talking so much shit and then you see them get their upcomings. Like
everyone loves that.
It's the best. One guy, I don't remember which Street Fighter it was.
Street Fighter Third Strike. You're talking about Daiso, the Chun-Li ultra parry with Ken?
That's fucking classic. Yeah, I've seen that multiple times.
Dude, so good.
It still gives me chills. It's like something out of
that was my game and my character too.
It was like something out of a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like the fact that hasn't been a movie. I'm sure one day.
Like that's better than Rudy. Fuck Rudy. Get wrecked, Samwise.
But just like bop, 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 and then the fucking jump.
And then the shorty kid.
And to fucking take the win. I mean, that's a classic. That's of course.
So good.
The latest one I was watching, and I forgot the guy's name, but he was like the champion. It was one of the new Marvel games. Hagar was in it.
Like Marvel vs. Capcom?
I think so. Yeah, because it had to be because Magneto and Dr. Doom was there.
Yep.
It was one of the new ones, and it was this Filipino guy who was just talking so much shit to so many players. And this quiet, meek, almost hunchback little Chilean dude, I think it was KBR was his name. And they did a exhibition match, and he lost really fucking bad. Ooh. And then there was a tournament, and then they caught up to the towards the end. And like a classic fucking story, the Chilean guy was losing like bad until mid, and then just completely destroyed him at the end.
That's awesome.
And earlier the Filipino guy was talking so much shit. The Chilean dude didn't say anything, just sat there, turned, shook his hand. I was like, dude, what a fucking gentleman. Didn't say.
I love it.
Anything at all, and like you just see so many people talking shit in the background.
Yeah,
and those are my favorite.
That's the best. I mean, it's like, as far as esports go, like I've never really enjoyed watching other people play video games. Like there's one-off experiences like that. I think his name was Daiso or Daigo or something. The Chun-Li parry video, stuff like that. Like I enjoy seeing and stuff, but I've just never been one into watching. And a lot of it's like super high level Counter-Strike Go and shit like that. And I just I don't give two shits about that. But it is nice to see a underdog story kind of come back and win the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to compete because I don't think I'm at that fucking level.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hit up our buddy Hell Pockets and be like, dude, put me on some videos to watch. Like I need to watch
like the best ones.
Oh yeah, or just
I'm sure he's got plenty of highlight reels to send you.
Or just start even watching some tournaments, man.
Yeah.
Like for sure, it's pretty fun to watch.
And there's big money in those tournaments, which is crazy too. You know, it's like millions of dollars in some of these ones.
That's crazy, man. Like I know I'll never be at the level. I'm like in arcade or like playing at home on a console. I'm like I would say like slightly above average. I feel like I'm
you can beat some of your friends.
Yeah, I could beat some of my friends. Me and my brother, depending on the game and depending on the match, we go back and forth. So that's what's fun when you have like the back and forth. When you're just completely destroying someone, it's like, all right, I need to find other people at my level.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. It's like, it's fun to dunk on someone for a while, but then you just start feeling bad if it's just all the time. You know what I mean? So, you got to find those ones who kind of compete with you.
I've just never gotten to the level where people are like, oh, well, the frame rate's off or this is that.
Yeah.
And like, well, the pixels on this TV is off. Like, dude.
Hitbox is way too big on him. Everyone knows that's fucking cracked. Yeah, it's stupid.
His character's broken. You can't play this
character's broken. Is banned. Rufus is banned. Yeah. My nerd confession is somewhat sport related too. But it's actually more of a real sport than esports.
It's a real sport.
But just barely, Christian.
Chess is a sport. I feel like esports should be considered.
I don't think chess is a sport. It's definitely a game. But yeah, I this weekend, today in fact, was the final day of the Disc Golf World Championships. And any listener of the pod knows that I have recently taken up, well, not recently, I guess I've been playing it like 6-7 months now. I've been playing a lot of disc golf, and so I got really into, you start finding your favorite players and stuff, and one of my favorites is Paul Macbeth, who's 5-time world champion disc golfer, the winningest man in disc golf.
The winningest?
Yeah.
Is that like a title he made up, or?
No, winningest? Yeah, that's the one who has won the most. That's a word.
Wouldn't it just be the winner?
Well, it's a different way. He's the one who has won the most. He's a winningest man.
You're the English major. I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, so he has won 5 world championships, and as of today, as of about 30 minutes ago, number 6, baby. And I got really excited watching it live. It's just, it's funny though, because...
Do they get rings? Do they get like...
No, it's trophies. But he's definitely won the most by a long margin now. I think the next closest guy has 3 or 4, so he's just kind of cemented his hold on the disc golf world for a while. So
American?
He's from I think he's from Huntington Beach, California.
Doesn't
if
matter,
I'm not
as long as
mistaken.
he's America.
But he has like his own line of discs and everything. He plays for Discraft, Team Discraft. I have several of his that I enjoy throwing very much. But yeah, it's just it's fun to watch these guys who are playing with frisbees essentially. But
disc, Cody.
Yeah, but dude, just throwing it like crazy, throwing these things like 600 feet. Dude.
If this was the 80s, there'd definitely be a disc golf movie for sure.
Yeah.
Like some kind of underdog, like, they're doing like really shitty from Jamaica or something, like some area where they don't have disc. Where would they not have disc? What country would not have disc?
I don't know. Maybe somewhere really windy.
Some kind of underdog story. Maybe from Mexico. They started tossing tortillas.
Yeah.
Kind of
just throw the tortillas. That's how you practice. Fucking Heiser flipped that tortilla.
Someone was just watching Javier throwing him. Was like, that kid's a natural.
He's working at a taqueria and he's just like fucking forehanding it.
Yeah. That kid's a natural. I need him on my fucking team.
This movie writes itself.
Rival team would be Italy, throwing the pizza dough and
stuff. Yeah, they've
like,
just been pros for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be great. I would watch the shit out of that movie.
It would have to be done 80s style. It couldn't be done today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got to be like Cool Runnings, but, disc golf. But yeah, it's just really fun to watch, watch a sport. And it's like, it's the unfortunate part about it is like, there are people out there who are professional disc golfers who, if they don't win a tournament in a year, like they have to quit because they're broke. Like the payouts are so low compared to like regular golf.
Imagine what the women of disc golf.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that's kind of cool about the. I guess
if they get paid less, that's the cool part.
No, I was gonna say it was kind of cool about the pandemic, but I didn't want to say that the pandemic was cool. But because it's an outdoor sport, it's fairly inexpensive to get into. Yep. A lot of people got into it, and so like this year, the women's one of the women's major championships, not the world championship, but one of the major competitions, was like the most viewed women's of all time, which is cool because like you think about like the NBA versus the WNBA and you multiply that by 1 million and that's what you get, like the difference between the men's disc golf and women's disc golf. Like there's a crowd of maybe 300, 400 people for the men's and there's like, 30 or 40 for the women's. And this is the world championships. So, it's good that more people are getting into it and bringing more notoriety to the sport. And hopefully one day they'll get it out there and get like the payouts and purses for these championship games, so these guys can make a better living at it. Here's a couple celebrities who are into disc golf. I'll give you 3 different ones.
All right.
Number 1.
Wait. Is this like where 2 are fake, 1 is real?
Nope, they're all real. All right. But just for your information.
All right.
Number 1, Bert Kreischer.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, he brings discs everywhere on tour, and they play different courses and
Have
stuff.
people confused you for him yet?
No, not yet. Thank God. I'm mostly sober, so it's pretty easy. Another one, Andrew Zimmern from Bizarre Eats. The Food Network show.
The name sounds familiar.
He's the bald guy, but he's always eating like weird fish eyeballs and shit like that. That was his show. Andrew Zimmern.
The name sounds very familiar.
You know him if you saw him. He's a big Food Network guy. Last one, I don't know. I can't remember his name or pronounce it, but he's Tormund Giantsbane from Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's actually on Team Innova in fucking Sweden or whatever the fuck he's from, and he has like his own channel and stuff. So
that's pretty dope.
Pretty cool. Lots of.
I didn't know until I looked it up. He was in The Witcher. He was
the pig man.
Yeah, and I was like, I know this guy. I definitely. Yeah. I thought it was Jermaine from
Flight of Conchords.
Yeah, and I was like, that's Jermaine for sure. And I was like, oh no, it's not him.
Wrong accent. you were close. But yeah, so there's a lot of fun disc golf stuff out there, and it's like I said, it's easy to get into. I feel like everyone should try it out. You should come out with me sometime.
I'm down. I probably will suck, but I'm down.
Dude, everyone sucks when they start. I still suck now, but like I've gotten better over the last 6 months. But once you get out there and you actually throw the disc and you're like, oh, I just threw it 40 feet and I threw it as hard as I could. And then you see these guys go out there, they don't look like they're trying at all and they throw it like 500 feet. You're like, God damn it.
I'm just going to watch videos before I go. Like, all right, what's the technique?
Why am I so bad? Yeah, it just takes a while. But man, it is a lot of fun. But yeah, shout out to Paul Macbeth, 5-time world champ or 6-time world champion now.
I just want to throw him like the Oriza in the Dark Tower, just cutting people's heads off and shit.
Yeah, when I throw forehand, which is like this, like sidearm, I definitely feel hella cool because I'm like, phew, just like you feel like you're throwing batarangs or some shit. It looks so cool. Okie dokie. Well, before we take our little mid-episode break, let's give our non-biased, non-spoiler Rings of Power review. Should people watch this, Christian? Is it worth the time? 2 episodes are out as of the recording of this video. A third will be out by the time this video comes out. Maybe not. Maybe the third one will come out tomorrow by the time this video comes out. Should people watch it? Is it worth the, what was it, like $100 million an episode or some shit like that?
That's hard to say the dollar-wise if it was worth it.
It's Jeff Bezos' dollar, so fuck him.
That's fair. Yes, I've enjoyed it. I think it would be rough if you're not a fan of Tolkien.
Or not a fan of other races and genders.
That's for fucking damn sure. Or if you're not into fantasy, it would be a little rough coming as if I had a friend who just wasn't into fantasy or wasn't into Lord of the Rings, it'd be a tough sell.
And I'd say specifically Tolkien fantasy because I will say the first 2 episodes, there's a lot of people standing around talking to each other.
Yeah.
But it's setting up a much bigger part of the world. We have to, it's taking place in the second age of Middle Earth and Tolkien's world, where if you remember Lord of the Rings, the movies and the original books, those take place in the last year or 2 of the Third Age. Mm-hmm. So this is hundreds, if not thousands, of years before that. Thousands? Yeah, I think thousands.
I mean, the hobbits aren't even established yet in a
Yeah,
settlement.
they're not even a race yet. Yeah,
They're just half feet, half
Harfoots.
foots. Yeah, Elrond is still early 20s, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into it. I'll get into it when we do. But yes,
Right.
to me, it's good. The CG is finally. I saw something that was great. I'm always looking at like shitty CG and maybe I wasn't looking hard enough, but I didn't see anything where I was like blatantly off, so I can see.
No, I think the CG looked good. I will say some of the props looked a little cheap and fake. Which, I mean, for a TV yes, it is Lord of the Rings, and yes, it has this obscene amount of money behind it. But at the end of the day, it is a TV show. So
I'm curious to what props, but we'll get into it in a bit. But I'm curious.
Yeah, there's some props that just didn't look. I mean, they look fine. Like we're kind of nitpicking because we want to review the show, but I think the average watcher will enjoy it. There's some interesting stuff happening in it, which could go either way as far as like the overall plot of this show. But I think it's worth a watch. The 2 episodes, 3, if the third one coming out this week, I think it's worth giving it a shot, especially if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings. It does have that high fantasy vibe to it. A lot of elves, a lot of dwarves. The dwarves are really cool so far from what we've seen.
Okay, as long as you agree the dwarves are cool, we're good.
Yeah, dude, the dwarves are fucking awesome. Like, I'd say that was one of my complaints. Not complaints necessarily, but that's one of the bummer parts of the original Lord of the Rings.
The dwarves
books
didn't have a huge part in it.
Is we're always going to these mines and dwarven cities
never seen
after they've fallen to
Yeah.
shit. You
You've
know what I
never
mean?
seen them in their heyday and their peaks of
Yeah,
like them being
just being
wealthy.
fucking sick ass
Yeah.
and just like building hella cool shit. So it was nice to see that and see their society and see them you forget that freaking Gimli is the only dwarf in all of Lord of the Rings.
Well, the only one who's given like big screen time,
Right,
for
right.
sure. Yeah,
That's true.
Other than the Hobbit, where you get the other ones, but even then,
Yeah, the Hobbit,
there isn't
yeah,
like really other than
7 of them or
Thorin.
whatever.
There isn't one that like really pops out too much.
Right, exactly. So yeah, lots of good stuff to like on it. I'm excited to see where it goes. I will say the one thing that I'm not a huge fan of so far, at least, is the pacing of it. But I remind myself that they're setting up, they're probably going to try to go for like 5 or 6 seasons, right? If you're spending this much money on this show, you want it to go on for a while, right? So they're setting up a lot of stuff. Even the first season of Game of Thrones, there were some slow parts to it because you're doing a lot of exposition, setting up the world, the key players. So I hope the pacing gets better, but it was a little slow. That's my only real drawback to it, without getting into spoilers. So, but yeah, definitely check it out. You agree?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it in reviews because there were some things where I was like, we'll get into it. Where I was like, oh, that was kind of unnecessary, but we'll.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get into some spoilers when we come back from our break. We're going to take a quick little break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're getting full spoiler talk for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right. Full-on spoilers for the first 2 episodes of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into some theories that we have of what's going on, of what's going to happen, who people are. Let's start with the first episode. We're introduced to freaking Galadriel. She's been hunting after Sauron for fucking years, like 100 years.
A lot. I mean,
Long
well, I
time.
mean, a long time because if this is the second age, and she's been after him since. I mean, you see the fall of the tree
because her brother dies at the end of the first age, right?
Yeah, so it's been at least a whole age.
Yeah. So, or part of an age anyway. So, yeah, she's hunting after Sauron. We see her doing some ice climbing with a fucking knife, and she's the only one still driving to find him. Everyone else is like, relax, Sauron's probably dead, no worries. And she's like, no, he's for real, still out there. And then like her whole crew wants to leave her and stuff. They fight an ice troll. The ice troll looks really good, I thought.
The CG on the ice troll was really good. The physics, which was interesting. The
Yeah.
physics on the ice troll were better than her wiring or her wire movements moving around.
Yeah,
which she was a real person.
Dude, I was going to say, the action for her looked like garbage.
Well, it's like when they have her running on the sword and she jumps off it. It's like, well, she either weighs absolutely nothing
Or the
that
guy's
one
got
elf.
4 arms of steel.
Yeah, and the deltoids of fucking like made
Like
of
fucking Popeye 4 arms.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, I mean, but we're gonna get some action like that. But the physics
Yeah.
on him were great. The CG on the ice troll was great.
Yep, looked good. I like the look of the elves so far. Like all the ears look fucking legit.
Yeah.
I like their like cool like swirly armor and shit like that.
I like the really extended handles on the swords, which is pretty cool.
They look cool. So one of those props that I alluded to before that looked like shit was her brother's knife that she left him.
Okay.
Dude, that thing looks like plastic cosplay shit.
The
Dagger.
the dagger itself, or the
The scabbard mostly.
okay.
Like when you look at it, it looks painted gold for sure.
Okay. I wasn't looking that hard on it. And then you were
Me neither. It was one of those things that just kind of popped out and I'm like, whoa,
Since we're going on things, I'm gonna start off things that slightly bothered me because I think there's more things that I liked than I disliked, and that was I'm gonna start off saying, because I know right away you're gonna say something and anyone else listening is gonna jump on what everyone else is saying. I like the actor and there's nothing wrong with his acting, but the character
Black Elf?
Aaron Deer. It has nothing to do with him. I like the stoic, like hard ass elf
Ranger type deal.
But the thing is like, if there's one thing, so his character is not in any of the books. He was made for the show. But if there's one thing Tolkien stories don't need is
Love
extra
stories?
characters. And love stories, but extra characters. There are so many unspoken characters, and you could have just picked
Any one of them, yeah.
anyone, and then just
like,
given them the
he's
love.
this guy.
Yeah, like there's just so many characters. It's like I like the actor. I'm curious to where it's gonna go, but it's like it's kind of unnecessary.
I think you're right. You make a good point that there's so many characters missing from any adaptation of any of Tolkien's work.
Like all of a sudden, you could have taken that actor and just put it into an existing character, and it would have been fine. It would have been fine.
Now, here's one thing that maybe a reason why they didn't do that. Now, there is not a lot of Second Age material out there. So a little behind the scenes factoid about the show. So Amazon purchased the rights to The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and all of the appendices of those books.
Okay.
They do not have the rights to the Silmarillion.
Oof.
So that makes it a little complicated to do some of the stories that perhaps we want to see, right?
That means we're never going to get or at least not through Amazon or through this show, I think it's Glorfindel, who is I don't want to say barbarian, but such a badass fighter. Like, he's just gone through the ages of that guy is the number one fighter, took out Balrogs by himself and almost took out Melkor by himself. And to see I don't know if you've gotten to that in the Silmarillion, but you'll get to it. And even though
he's the one who wrestles people, right?
No, I think that's the demigod.
Oh, okay.
That's the demigod. But there is an actual elf who went and just challenged Melkor to a duel and didn't destroy him, but definitely fucked him up.
Is that the High King? What's that guy's name? He has a G name too. The High Elf King. Because we did see him in the show.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He was the one who's Elrond's his little bitch. And then we did see Celebrimbor, who's the smith guy.
Yeah, and I guess since we're going into it, I like the actor. I can't picture other stuff I've seen him, but there's nothing wrong with the actor. But I've just always imagined him being, and Cody had sent pictures of actual smiths, being
fucking yoked with the cum gutters.
Yeah.
He's just coming out all sweaty. He's got one little smudge of soot on his face and he's just fucking all oiled up. That's how I imagine him.
I just always being a handsome.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of some middle-aged British dude.
Obviously elves aren't going to be, super muscular, but something someone
he needs to be
lean.
svelte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whitey, someone who's just got some thin muscle.
Yeah.
Those are actually the only two complaints I have. I mean, there's been other changes, but I could understand. You can't go straight adaptation from the book.
Yeah, I do have one complaint where, and it's more of like a fan theory. So I think end of episode 1 and then all through episode 2, we see this meteor man, right? Comes down.
Classic movie.
Classic. I have the first issue of Meteor Man.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
He comes out of this falling star. One of the primordial hobbits, the Harfoots, finds him, and he can't speak. He doesn't know where he's at. He's got a beard. He looks like a hobo, and we don't know who he is yet.
Yes, we do.
Now,
I think it's painfully obvious who it is.
Now, who do you think he is? You think he's Gandalf?
For sure.
So, if he's Gandalf, I'm going to be a little upset because Gandalf is definitely not around right now. Like he's over in Valinor hanging out with, I forget the goddess who like cries out knowledge or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, at this point he's Olorin. I think it's
Olorin. Yeah.
Olorin.
Yeah. Now, one thing I think that would be interesting is if he is one of the blue wizards that we never find out anything about. There's nothing really about them. Yeah. We know that they existed, but we don't know anything about them. So I think that would be kind of a cool thing to find out.
I think it would be cool,
but
I don't think they're going to do it.
I know.
What I find interesting, and I'm okay with it. That he just showed up. He doesn't know how to speak, and he's already way more powerful than all of the Gandalf we've seen in any of the movies. I mean, he wakes up and he's just like, he just sucks out all this meteor energy, and like he screams and he blasts out like all this wind.
Yeah.
And like you never really see Gandalf be that powerful. In the books, he does some pretty cool shit, but in the movies, it's not so much.
Well, I think, one thing is, because of the soft magic system of Tolkien, where like his powers are never clearly defined, you have to find interesting ways of showing like his power. And you're right, in the books, like we see like different instances, but they're not consistent. Like
it's mostly, I feel, at least from I remember from the books, it's like firework magic.
Yeah.
Like even when he's like killing wargs, like it's like described as like fireworks popping and crackling and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Shooting fireballs and stuff, like classic wizard stuff. But I think one thing that like I've heard some people think that maybe this is Sauron, but Sauron's when he comes in, he's supposed to be like this super handsome like elf that's gonna like corrupt Celebrimbor into making the Rings of Power. And I don't see that from this guy.
It's definitely not Sauron.
Yeah.
For sure. No, it's definitely Gandalf. Like I think the show's trying to paint like this is why
he loves the hobbits so much.
Why he has like a big heart towards the hobbits. Like that one Brandyfoot girl is super kind to him. She's trying to help him out without even knowing, being a complete stranger.
Right.
And then we also see him like speaking to the fireflies and letting them go, and some of them were taking off.
Now here's one thing that leads me to believe that maybe not Gandalf, maybe he's a Sauron, or maybe he's like a Balrog who hasn't taken form yet. The only reason I say that is because first of all, he shows up in a fireball, and we know that
but the fire's not hot.
Yeah,
Brandyfoot falls in.
So that's my exact point, Christian. Remember in the beginning when they're in the empty Sauron castle or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and he says, "I've lost feeling in my fingers." It was like, no, you just can't feel the fire because it's too evil here.
It's too evil. Okay.
So the fire has lost its heat because of it's so evil, which is weird science, but whatever. So that kind of like made me think like, ooh, maybe this guy's up to no good, but we don't know. It could just be that he is, hasn't kind of regained his sense of self yet. Maybe it is Gandalf. I don't know. I just think, it hurts to see a different person play Gandalf other than Ian McKellen, and also he would be so shoehorned into this story. Because again, he's not a wizard yet. At this point, he hasn't been sent to Middle Earth yet, because the wizards were sent essentially to guide, mankind into past defeating Sauron.
Yeah. Well, one thing, and it's said in the Silmarillion, not so much in the books, is that the wizards, I mean, they look like old men, but they take that form. They're not really...
Yeah, because everyone trusts an old man.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, oh, he's wise. Could be he doesn't look dangerous.
I don't know if I trust a naked dude who falls out of the sky.
It's
what I'm
fair.
saying?
It's very
I
fair.
don't know.
But and also the other thing why I think it's Gandalf is that the Brandyfoot gives him the cloak that she gives him. It's great.
Right.
So
yeah, and he does the thing when he's talking to the fireflies. It's very reminiscent of him talking to the moths. And stuff.
Letting it go. For sure.
Then they all died though. So
that's true.
So some weird stuff's happening. I think Gandalf is the smart theory there. But
I like your theory though. I didn't think about that about the fire not being hot and not being.
Might be some evil shit. Also, when he landed in that crater, it looked like a big old Sauron eyeball.
That's true.
So I don't know. They could be giving us a bunch of red herrings there, but we'll just have to keep watching and find out.
I liked the dwarves.
Yeah, dude,
the dwarves are amazing.
Hands down, dwarves have been the best part of this show.
The helmet that they had, the full-on
the beard cover.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Beard protector. They have like metal beard guards.
Oh, I'm talking about even the ones that just cover their faces.
Oh, yeah.
With the guards that were letting them in.
Dude, they look so good.
They were great. Yeah.
Yeah, the dwarves look great.
Even the queen, forgot her name, the female dwarf,
the one that all the freaking
one that everyone's
racist misogynists hate.
Yeah,
she was great. Her
Princess Disa.
Disa, yeah, her character's awesome.
And I even love like the subtle details of the hint of the beard, where like she still looks feminine. And they had mentioned
she's got some hardcore sidebar.
Exactly, and it's like it starts off and it comes down. And it's very faint, It's like, oh, that was a nice touch.
Right. Big controversy. Everyone's like, why don't the female dwarves have beards? It's like frickin' Tolkien didn't even have his mind made up on that. In one little itty bitty passage in the appendices, he did say that the women have beards, but in all the other ones they say no, they don't. He didn't even say that they have beards. They said they look identical to female or to male dwarves almost. So. But everyone remembers, of course, the Peter Jackson movies where Aragorn makes the joke.
No, I think it was Gimli, wasn't it? I think Gimli was the one who said.
No, he's like, a lot of people think there are no dwarf women, but that's ridiculous. They're just hard to find because they look so close to, near dwarf men. And Aragorn's like, it's the beards.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, then he leads on poor Arwen.
Do you think they're going to go heavy on the, oh my God, the descendant of what Aragorn is?
The Dunedain?
The Dunedain. It was with an N, wasn't it?
Numenor?
The Numenorians, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we are going to see Numenor, which is the city where all the long-lived men are from.
They've reached like the highest pinnacle of man where like they live long life. They're not elves, but they're, I guess, the closest a human could be to an elf.
They live for, a few hundred years kind of thing.
I think it was like 300 years.
Yeah, because Aragorn is supposed to be like 90
He's supposed to be like 90, but he was like middle-aged. Because the descendants have been...
He wasn't middle-aged. He was probably like 35, and we were just little kids when that came out.
That's probably fair.
God damn, that sucks. It hurts. It hurts to hear.
But what's going to be interesting is that in, at least lore-wise, canon... the majority of them are evil, and they side with Melkor. But there's a few of them who stay true on the side of good, and they don't go on that side. So I'm wondering if they're going to go that side. Because I feel like in Lord of the Rings, the books, you did see the Eastern men and the wild men. But for the most part, the humans were good. So I'm hoping they do lean into I guess they did in the first episode where they mentioned the elves, that these sided on the wrong side.
There was a bunch of racist people who hated elves and stuff. And I think, I think we're going to see both. And
I hope they do it with the elves. Because in all the other books and lore, you always see elves on the good side. But in the Silmarillion, there were some bad elves who did some terrible shit. So I'm hoping we see some of that.
And I mean, I think we've already seen hints of that where, part of the part of the problem with living essentially forever is that you get out of touch with the importance of other human beings and other life forms that don't live as long. And I think maybe they're not necessarily evil, but they can be swayed because of their own self-importance kind of thing.
I guess we did see part of that with Elrond and the Dwarven Prince.
Right.
He's like, you're my friend, but he's like, you didn't come see me for my wedding.
He's like, you haven't been 20 years. He's like, oh, has it been that long? He's like, yeah, dude, I don't live forever. I did love their back and forth, though. I love the rock smashing.
I was so happy that Elrond did not win.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way. And not Tolkien. Peter Jackson for sure would have had the elf win. But it's like, no, dude, in a contest of that, the fucking dwarf is going to win for sure. That's what they do day in, day out, every fucking day.
It's like what they were made for, literally.
So I was so happy. I was like, that was one thing. I was like, if Elrond fucking wins, I'm not going to hate the show, but I'm going to be pretty fucking upset.
Like, one thing, though, that I think they didn't do very well, like, he didn't look tired. He looked like he was like, just like, I'm over this. Like, I live forever, and this is taking too long.
I don't know. He swung, and he definitely lost technique. He broke
the head off the hammer.
Yeah.
But they gave him a new one, and he was just like, meh.
And he was about to swing, and he just collapsed. He's like, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm over it. Overall, though, I do like the back and forth between Durin and Elrond. I thought that was awesome.
Well, because you can tell Durin does care for him. He's just hurt. There's a difference. Like, he doesn't hate him. He's fucking hurt. Like,
right. Yeah, he hurt his feelings. You know, he was like, dude, you didn't come see my fucking wedding? I mean,
you didn't see my kids being born?
Did he get an invitation? Who knows? We don't know. You know, how does that work? The postal system in Middle Earth is not reliable. But yeah, the dwarves have by far been the highlight of it. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting, we see the love interest of, what's his name again? Terrajon.
I got it.
Ernagine.
Erendir, I want to say.
Erendir. Some Tolkien-esque.
Erendir.
Yep. Erendir. So we see Erendir's love interest, which is this human woman who is a healer of sorts. Like, she's collecting different, flowers and shit like that. She has a son who finds a Sauron Blackblade kind of thing.
And that's what I'm curious.
What is that?
It's not Sauron because he hasn't been introduced yet.
Right.
So it
has his little rune on it.
It has to be Melkor. I feel like Melkor's sword. I mean,
and when he bleeds, it like sucks it in and it starts growing again.
Which is awesome, but it's not in any of the books. But it's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a cool effect. So yeah, I'm wondering what that is. Like, and then if it is Melkor's blade, why is it there?
Yeah, what human had it and put it there? I mean, there's a lot to explain.
Let's just hide it under this random lady's barn. That's a good place to keep it out of trouble.
I know you said that the show seems slow. I'm actually enjoying the pacing because it's similar to the books. It's not everything's super fast and actiony.
My main complaint for the pacing is that we're not getting enough time with each character. Mm-hmm. I wanted more time with Durin and Elrond, like discussing like their past and stuff, and it's flashing back and forth between them and Erendir or whatever his name was, and then back to the Harfoots, and then back to Galadriel. Sorry. And it's just shooting back and forth. It's like, I'd be okay if like for half an episode we were with one, and then half an episode we were with the other one, and then episode 2 we're with 2 other ones. Like I like to sit with characters a little bit longer to get this emotional attachment to them. But, again, it's the first 2 episodes. I'm not going to be too hard on it.
I'm hoping there's a lot of episodes, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
With the money they spend, I hope it's quite a few.
Yeah, so we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about the hate that the show is getting for no reason.
Amazon had to stop the reviews because so many people were hating the diversity.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it seems that there's this growing trend where any show that has any amount of added like diversity or a gender swapped character or like a prominent female character that maybe wasn't prominent in the source material, anytime that happens, like all the fucking like neckbeards out there go like, "Oh God, I can't believe this is happening. This is the downfall of our society," and it's just ridiculous. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I think that there is a trend in Hollywood and pop culture to check the boxes for diversity and not really mean it sincerely.
Yeah.
We saw that with that. Remember what was the comic book characters like Safe Space?
Oh yeah.
And Screen Time and all that stuff.
I honestly thought it was. I don't know. I guess it's not a joke, but I honestly
It's not
thought
a
it was
joke.
a joke.
They thought they were connecting with the youth of today, and maybe they are. But I think there's a difference between something like this show, which to me doesn't feel like that. It just feels like, they're having to tell a story with very little material to go on. We have the world that has been built. We have like the start point and the end point, but that's kind of it. And they're having to make up some of this stuff that's happening. So like I don't care if there's black elves and dwarves. Like, who gives a shit? Like, and for those people out there who are like, oh well, Tolkien said that blah 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 blah. First of all, Tolkien didn't say shit. he doesn't. And this is one of my complaints with him as a author in general. Like, he doesn't describe what his characters look like. Like, we don't know. Like, does Aragorn have a beard in the books? It is never said at all in the books.
Is
ever.
it?
Never. Like, we don't know what color hair he has. We don't know what color Gimli's beard is. Like, all this stuff we've kind of accepted as fact is from the Peter Jackson movies.
That's true.
And I think that people need to realize that if you're going to get mad at anybody, get mad at Peter Jackson for making all the elves white.
I feel like he has said that elves are fair skinned, but he didn't say that all elves are fair skinned.
Right. And fair skin can mean a variety of things too. Like, if you look at Arondir, that's what it is. That's what I'm going to say, whether or not that's his actual name or not. When you look at Arondir, when you look at him, he is fair skinned for an African American guy or African English guy. How do they say that in England?
What?
They're not African American. They just say black.
I'm assuming.
I'm just going to go back to black. Back in black. Yeah, he is very fair skinned. Like, he has lighter skin, and he's got like he's got that elfish, whimsical look.
Looks,
to
yeah.
him.
He definitely looks elfish. Yeah.
I've got no problem with that. Now, if they got like what's his face? If they got like Ice Cube to be an elf,
someone who doesn't have the build,
someone not necessarily doesn't have the build, has that constant Ice Cube face to him. You know what I mean? You know the one. Like,
he'd be a good dwarf.
You're picturing Ice Cube in your brain. That's the face. Yeah, he would be a good dwarf. Actually, I think that'd be fucking cool. He's like, yo, I'm gonna pound some rocks. It was like, okay, cool, man.
I mean, he, Ice Cube always has that look where he's pissed off. He's just looking at you.
Yeah,
like,
he's surly.
He could definitely make you feel stupid for something you have said with one look.
Yeah, just the Ice Cube look. Yeah, I mean, if he was an elf, sure, I could see your problem. But this guy that got to play Arondir is great. I'm excited to see what he does. I like the look of his armor. I thought that was kind of cool. They have like a little tree thing.
He's got the wood elf symbol too that the hobbits later got.
Yeah. Oh, also, did you see the Ents in the show?
Well, when the comet was going, they were background. I mean, the Ents are obviously not going to get a whole lot of airtime. It
was fun to see a little smattering of them in the background.
Oh, we didn't say the goblins. They looked great.
Ooh,
the goblins are great. I want to say they're goblins. Goblins tend to be smaller. There might be orcs, I guess.
Well, goblins and orc is interchangeable in Tolkien.
That's true. The Urukai, and they're not Urukai.
Urukai are
not
different.
till later.
Yeah. Because that's one thing that's kind of interesting too. I've done a lot of like
I go
Tolkien tubing,
and I forget that I go between D&D and Tolkien, where D&D goblins are smaller, orcs are bigger.
So in Tolkien, there's goblins and orcs, which are interchangeable.
Yeah, he
but
switches
then
them up all
there's
the time.
also, he's mentioned like hobgoblins, goblin men, which are not Urukai.
No, they would be, I guess, what would be considered in D&D like half orc, But even then, like half men and half goblin and Uruk-hai are. I feel those are not the same. Those are different.
Yeah, the Uruk-hai are like the bred for fighting ultra roided out.
Yeah,
orcs.
bigger, huger. Yeah.
Obviously modeled after black people. Come on, Peter Jackson. We know what you're doing.
And I also, since we're talking about half, I wonder if they're gonna mention Elrond being a half elf.
Yeah.
Which I feel they kind of hinted at the episode where he was not elected, and they're kind of like, you know why? Like,
Yeah.
they didn't really say, they didn't outright say it, but.
But then Arendir's buddy was saying, like, coupling between elves and man have never worked or whatever.
Yeah, I think in the sense of like, not
The
of like.
only one we got is Elrond. He's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
fuck up.
You know, he's fucking like.
Yeah, he's got that weird chin.
That guy, that actor.
Has a chin.
Yes,
Very pronounced.
Very pronounced, sure. But I think they did a great job in casting where he looks like 19 and like 45 at the same time.
100%.
We're like, that's how I've always felt elves were like, where you can't tell. Like, is this dude older or is he a kid? Like,
He's
I
got
can't
that
fucking
ageless face kind of thing,
Yeah.
Galadriel looks like a young girl.
Yes,
you
for
know.
sure.
But yeah, you're right. Elrond does look like a 40-year-old man in high school.
Yeah. But like, there's times like he looks like a fucking kid, and but there's other times like no, he looks like he's 45.
Yeah, he looks like he's seen some shit. Yeah. I like the casting so far of most of the people. My phone is ringing. I'm trying to silence it. There it goes. I like the casting that we've seen so far. I think I really like the head Hobbit dude.
Yeah.
Whoops. The fortune teller dude. I mean, I don't know his name yet, but he seems cool. And I like how he's always kind of grumpy, and he's seen some foretelling in the stars.
Sadik Burrows.
Sadik Burrows. Sadiq. I think it's a good show. I'm excited to see where it goes next. But I'm also like, I don't know. I just don't want them to go out on too many limbs as far as like their own liberties and stuff, because they are taking liberties with the storyline that's out there. Sure. But so far I'm okay with it.
I'm curious how they're gonna make how they're gonna make Sauron look as an elf, if they're even gonna do it. I feel like they really should, but I could also understand it's gonna be a hard fucking sell for anyone who has just seen the movies. Like, it's gonna be hard for them to understand that he once had a body.
Hot body.
A hot body.
Hot body.
Because they're all used to, and that's the thing that that's another thing that people get hung up on in the books. He very much never describes what Sauron looked like in Lord of the Rings. It's just the glowing eye.
Right.
That is it.
Right.
It's in the Silmarillion. He does describe that he could take shapes and forms of what he wanted to look like, and one of them was a hot elf. So,
hot ass elf. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be difficult for audiences who are just the Peter Jackson fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be. I hope they do it well, where like Celebrimbor's like introduced to some guy who's like supposed to help him out, who's like a prodigy or something, and then like the people who don't know that story would be surprised. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. Like us, we kind of know that, if this guy comes in and he's like, hey, I know you're trying to make something that will keep like the elf realms, young and perfect forever. Have you thought about rings?
Yeah.
Like, we'll kind of know what that's all about. Or like,
what I hope they don't do, but I can see them doing, is just making a Celebrimbor be Sauron.
Oh, that would be shitty for sure.
Which
because like him dying is like a big ass scene.
It's a huge fucking deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, and the fact that he feels betrayed is, I was fucking tricked by this, being into making these things.
And another thing too is that the 3 rings that were made for the elves, he made them without Sauron.
Yeah.
Which is why they weren't necessarily like, they never used them, because the One Ring could still find them and control them if they were used, but they weren't tainted by him.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
and I hope they do use the dwarves to make the rings, because they do help. Like right now they're having to make the castle, which is cool.
Yeah, the forge or whatever. Yeah. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what goes on. I was worried. I think the Amazon media team, PR team, has done a poor job of marketing this show. They've done the job that that makes it play right into that right wing misogynist, racist, YouTuber, makes it play right into their fears. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it could have very easily been that way, but it's definitely not. It's just like, oh, we just have a diverse cast. That's cool. It's not like we don't have Princess Disa, right? That was her name?
Disa.
We don't have her talking about how hard it is being, a black dwarf, and how women don't get respect in the Dwarven Kingdom and stuff. It's not like that. It's not like they're pushing some sort of woke agenda. It's at the end of the day, it's just Lord of the Rings, which is what everyone wants.
I'm curious to see what the.
I can't wait till that happens in episode 3.
Yeah. I'm curious though, how the other side, what they would have done. No, actually, I do know what they would have done, which would have been Peter Jackson's film, where the Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
I mean, they were dark skin, dreadlocks. Fucking. We all know what Jackson was going for. So
I'm too pasty to name off all the similarities. I think Peter Jackson could get a bunch of shit because of how he casts his movies. But at the end of the day, I don't think he does it from a place of malice. You know what I mean? I think he used the people he had available to him and what he had as an image of what Tolkien put in when he read the books, and I think, that's at the end of the day, you could tell he loved the material and he respected it. And yes, there weren't that many black people.
There weren't any black people unless they were Uruk-hais.
Right.
Oh, we got a bunch of New Zealanders? They're the orcs.
Yeah.
Just throw them in there.
Yeah. All the Maoris.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I don't think he did it from a place of ill intent. And I think that
no. He definitely didn't do it for Lord of the Rings. He 100% did it for King Kong. For sure. All the natives with the bones.
I don't remember that movie that well. I was gonna say Andy Serkis played the gorilla. What are you talking about? Thought that's where you were going.
No.
I don't know.
I can't. I don't think I could unless Andy Serkis does some real blatant racist shit. I don't think I could hate him.
Yeah,
he just seems like a really cool guy.
He is a very cool guy. I've met him.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. I think overall, the show is definitely worth watching. I think all the people out there rating it poorly for being too diverse are just fucking assholes.
Well, and the thing is I've gone and read some of the reviews, and it's like, okay, you obviously didn't watch the fucking show, where they hated all of the costumes, all of the, props. It's like, okay, you just didn't watch it. Just say, okay, I didn't watch it, but I want to say some shit that I'm not going to point out that I obviously, hate the diversity. I'm going to name other shit that I'm just guessing had happened.
Right. And I think, again, I think the PR team for Lord of the Rings has done a very poor job representing it, and representing it to its fan base. Like the big thing that they had where it was the super fans react to the first 2 episodes, where they obviously weren't super fans. They were just like a bunch of, very hip young YouTube influencers or whatever. I haven't seen that video. Remind me to send it to you afterwards. Yeah. I will send it to you. But it was very obvious they weren't super fans. Like one of them was like, "Oh, I wonder if they're gonna it'd be great to see them explain why they actually made these rings. What was that all about?" And it was just like, "Oh my god, you fucking idiot!
You're a super fan, right?"
Yeah, I don't think you're even a fan. They explained it in the first, opening crawl of Lord of the Rings movies. I think they've done a poor job marketing the show. But they do it because they're trying to market to that younger audience who may not be like the sweaty neckbeards. The sweaty neckbeards are going to see it anyway. Us nerds are going to see anything that says Lord of the Rings in front of it. So I think they're just trying to cast a wide net. And that has rubbed a lot of those right-wing conservatives wrong.
And I mean, like all fandoms outside of the sweaty neckbeards, there's going to be people who just are going to dislike it for goofy things that wouldn't work. I was talking to a few people on Twitter, they were upset how in the original Peter Jackson that Tom Bombadil didn't show
Right.
up. I was like, well, dude, like it would.
It would break the realism of a movie.
To have a godlike being show up where this one ring is so dangerous that Gandalf,
Galadriel,
and
Elrond.
anyone who takes this ring would be corrupted, and you see Tom Bombadil take the ring, fling, just flicks it around like, oh, this thing?
Puts it on, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't even turn invisible. It's like, oh, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, and then they just leave it. It's like, who the fuck was that guy?
Yeah. We can't leave it with him because he might forget about it in a few hundred years, and then someone else will find it.
Exactly. It's he's a hard character to explain away. There's certain things that I think you have to sacrifice when making one of these adaptations. That you do have to make certain sacrifices. I think where Peter Jackson got it right is that he knew where that line was.
Yeah.
And he kept the stuff in that was important, that made the story progress. And he added stuff, too, that made a better story. Like Aragorn's whole character arc. Like, he didn't really have a character arc in the books. He was just this king in hiding, just waiting for the right moment.
Yeah.
But in the movies, he didn't want it. He didn't think he was ready. He didn't think he was worthy. And he eventually, finds himself to be ready to be that king. So it was nice to have extra stuff put into the movies. So I think that there's high hopes for this show. I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm glad that it wasn't just like a shitty CW show. It looks good. It sounds good. The music was, like I was mentioning to you, was kind of like, meh, it was fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not like the Lord of the Rings, the
Yeah. Well, that's tough. But also, like, the score and the whole sound team of Lord of the Rings, even to this day, like, if you watch everything in the Mines of Moria, like, when they're on the bridge that's breaking, it's just all the sound of, like, even with my shitty sound system, like...
Sounds so good.
Yeah, it gives you fucking chills. Like, it still feels epic. And I just remember watching in the theater, like, this is fucking amazing, and the sound on this...
It still looks amazing to this day. I just rewatched all of them. Like, yes, there's some wonky ones. Like, do you remember the scene where Legolas
on the horse
is shooting the arrows, and then the horses come up behind him, and he grabs it, and
and just flips over. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But also, I understand that he wanted to make Legolas look like this amazing fighter, which he was good.
But he turned him into a superhero.
He turned him into, and Gimli was better.
Yeah.
Gimli was better.
Hell yeah.
When they had when he was trapped in the cave, when they were having the contest of who killed more, Gimli won by 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, I think I have high hopes for the show. I think everyone should check it out. I'm excited to see what happens next, and we'll do a full season recap too once it's all said and done.
Yeah, we should get Fabian.
Yeah,
to come on.
Yeah,
she's a big fan too.
Yeah, she's pretty woke. She can make us check our privilege.
I just meant more. She's also a super Tolkien fan.
Yeah. No, we need to get that other perspective in there because I just don't give a shit. I just want good elves and dwarves. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm an easy to please guy. I just want it to be fantastic and whimsical. Thank you guys for checking out the show, listening every week. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Let us know down in the comments, who do you think the Meteor Man is? Is it Gandalf? Is it Sauron? Is it Saruman? Is it Tom Bombadil? Who knows? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. We want to theorize. I
do love your theory. I do love your theory.
I do miss a good like fan theory show. We haven't had that in a while since like WandaVision. You know what I'm saying? So let us know down in the comments. We do want to hear from you. And while you're down there, like and subscribe. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. Leave us a few shekels. Help us keep this show going. Also, I'm unemployed now, so every dollar helps.
We should start a Kickstarter for
start a Kickstarter for. It's called Unemployment for Cody. But we do appreciate you guys coming in every week and listening. Christian, thank you for being the Legolas to my Gimli.
Whoa! Nah, I think even that I would rather be Gimli. But that's cool. I'll take Legolas.
Yeah, Legolas is cool.
No, Legolas is cool.
I just have a bigger beard than you, and I always will.
It's true.
It's all the nerds out there. Remember, you're not alone. You're with friends. This is Nerds with Friends. Thank you, and good night.